Hey love, Satnam, Aho. I felt called to share a heart story with you today. I was planning my yoga class last night, and well, just to give you a little bit of backstory, so I'm taking this chakra psychology course with my teacher, and we're going on this journey through the chakras about how they get imbalanced, what disrupts them, how to uh, balance them, what are the remedies for each chakra. We're going from the root, sacral, solar plexus, heart, all the way up to the crown, right? And it's been so revealing. It's been so revealing, and a lot of things that I was aware of, but some new things, some new ways to shift patterns and to have more wisdom to make more refined choices, and also just letting go of a lot of guilt or shame around making a mistake or making bad decisions, and instead just seeing them as learning curves in our consciousness. And also, whenever we start to live more from the heart and we start to clean up the lower chakras, the lower nature, the lower energies, as that refines, we do start to make better and better choices, but we really got to clean up house so that we can make wiser and wiser decisions and choices that feel more aligned and we have more trust along our path. But anyway, what I wanted to share is I had such a beautiful experience this morning. So last night, whenever I was planning for my class, and right now in the course, I'm in the heart chakra, which is learning about, you know, um, so many things about courage and also the ways of how we close our heart. And if you've ever had depression, that's a major uh, symptom of, an imbalanced heart chakra. And depression can leave a feeling within us, a feeling like we don't have a place in the world, like we don't have a home, there's nowhere for us. And it can bear the question, subconsciously or consciously, of like, I don't even belong here. Why am I here? This is not my home. I don't belong here. That sense of abandonment can be so strong in some of us that, it can even make some souls choose to leave before their time. I know for me, I idolized uh, or had such a strong tendency to escape out of reality with so many different things, so many different vices, addictions, partners, whatever it would be, to not fully be in reality because that depression was so strong, and I was trying to find a home in so many external things, but I needed to find the home within, right? We know these things conceptually, but how it gets played out in the telenovela, the drama of our life, is a very different story, right? And so I was planning my class about all the things I wanted to share and teach, what I was learning about the heart chakra. And then in the morning, I was actually kind of nervous. I was like, I've got too much. I need to filter this down. And then I was like, okay, I just trust. I let go now. I've got it in me. I've absorbed it. I've retained it. And hopefully it's able to be shared in a way that flows and makes sense. I trust. And then on the way there to Yoga Barn, where I currently teach, I walk in and room is full. Between 40 and 50 people there in the class. And I was like, oh wow, the message is really important today. And so I sit down and I'm getting ready, and then I decide to share a story that happened just on my way to Yoga Barn. I wasn't sure if I was going to share it because it was quite emotional. And I was driving on the way there, and about 10 minutes before I got there, I was on my motorbike on the road. And this Indonesian man and his son was on the motorbike, and they were going a little bit faster than me, and they went past me. And the child, who's probably 6 or 7 years old, he just looks right back at me, and he goes, "Mwah," and he blew me a kiss. The magic of the universe. And then they continued to go along. He turned his head, he looked forward, and he just rested his hands like this, like feeling the wind. And he was so relaxed. And he threw his head back, and he was just like resting into Dad on the front of the motorbike. So relaxed, just feeling the wind. And I realized in that moment, he feels safe. He feels safe. And I just cried. I cried for the next 10 minutes on my way to go teach class, and I was like sobbing, and I was like, I need to compartmentalize my emotions right now. I need to go teach a class. Like, can we do this later, inner child? Little one inside? Can we have this moment a little bit later? And it was like, no, we need to have that moment right now. And even when I was walking into Yoga Barn, I was like, okay, gotta like do some breath of fire, get some fire energy. I'm too watery right now. And I wasn't sure if I was going to share that, but then I realized when I sat down to share, that the universe had created those circumstances so miraculously, such divine intervention, such divine perfection, because I was speaking, I felt the calling to teach about abandonment and how that can lead into depression and all these vices and everything, right? And I shared that story on my way to class, and how that touched me, and how it melted, how it opened my heart. And it was so beautiful to see a handful of people, felt that and could relate, and started tearing up and started crying. And then we, got into our Kriya, we got into our practice, and it was a beautiful, beautiful practice. Because what was so impactful about that moment was that maybe the more unhealed version of myself, and not to say that I'm totally healed, I'm definitely still on my journey and on my process, and I've still got my things I'm working on, definitely. And but with that said, it's also nice to see some progress too, and recognize that and confirm that within the being, right? And there was a time probably a few years ago where that sadness or that depression or that bitterness of like, oh, that child he's had such a good positive experience with his father, and that child was the same age as probably whenever my whole family separated, and I didn't really have the strongest relationship with my father after 5, 6, 7 years old, sometime in that time range. And there was a time where I would have felt very bitter about seeing that child being so relaxed and safe with his father, because I guess that's something that I wish I had, right? And that didn't happen. I just felt so much love, and I felt so much gratitude, and I was so happy for that child and that family in that moment. In that moment, there was peace. Who knows about the rest of the story? Who knows, right? We have no idea. But in that moment, there was the expression of safety, and that is so important for a child. So, reflect on your own life, where maybe that abandonment wound is still with you, is still present, if it's manifesting as depression or addictions, trying to find a home in someone or something else, or trying to escape into something or someone else. And just setting the intention is so key and so powerful to heal that, right? So that we can perceive moments like this with clarity. The mirror of the heart is clear. And there's no resentment, there's no bitterness, there's nothing left that needs to be forgiven. And that's what the heart is all about. If you want to know what true courage is, this is what courage is. Being able to accept your life circumstances that are both positive and negative. The good and the bad, accepting it all. That's what courage is. Courage is having the willingness to change, negative beliefs, old habits that aren't serving you, that are really limiting your potential of why you are here in this body and in this form, right? And as we get, upper into the upper chakras, from the lower to the heart space, it gets more and more subtle. These things get more and more subtle, but you can see how these this expression of consciousness can affect your reality very directly. My teacher says that the chakras are the architects of our reality. So the more clear and clean that they can be, the better. So contemplate where that wound is still alive for you. Set the intention to bring more healing and balance to it, and that a path opens your way for more grace and more healing. And if you need support in that journey, feel free to reach out to me. I would be happy to work with you one-on-one, doing some spiritual counseling and creating a sadhana, a daily spiritual practice that works for you. Cleaning up your own consciousness, cleaning up house, so that you're free. You're free from what you inherited from your mother, your father, society, or even farther back in your ancestors. A lot of the work that we do is we do clearing work on the navel point. It's very powerful with Kundalini Yoga to work on the navel point with certain breath techniques and postures and somatic practices that help release really deeply stored information. Not even trauma, just information. Right there, that's already a shift too. To just say something as it is information, it is an experience. And yes, we all know what bliss is, and we all know what trauma is, right? And we don't want to undermine or bypass trauma, but we also don't want to reinforce trauma so much either by being identified to it, because the ego is very blind. It doesn't. If you say you are a healer, positive identity, sure, that's who you are. You've claimed that. Your ego will continue to supply that to you. If you are identifying to your traumas, even subconsciously, your ego is going to supply that and experiences like that to you as well. You hear the gecko? Gecko says, yeah. So, a lot about this journey also in refining our consciousness is how are we identifying ourselves? And Kundalini Yoga talks about Sat Nam, the true identity. So we're getting past all of the projections and the personas of who we think we are, who we're expected to be, or what we've inherited that we can just become at a default level if we don't put any effort into transforming our consciousness. It's a wonderful journey, has its moments of challenge, absolutely, but the grace that begins to build and blossom along the way, and then your soul, the uniqueness of your soul beginning to emerge and flourish and thrive, that's pure magic. Pure magic. And I wish that for you. I wish that for all. All right. Lovely to be with you. lovely to share this heart story. And yeah, if you need support in any way, just feel free to reach out. Satnam. Bye bye.